students, I decided to go ahead and make y'all a. There's my alarm to wake up. Make y'all a review video to help y'all out for this test. So let's just jump right into it. Sorry. Okay. So one moment. Prior to the use of conquest, what would spread Islam throughout Africa, and where would Christianity take a foothold in Africa? So, in northern Africa, Islam would primarily spread through trade routes and be spread with Islamic merchants throughout northern Africa. Now, the two countries that would get a foothold for Christianity is Egypt and Ethiopia. If I remember correctly, we did talk about Ethiopia. I may not have mentioned the Coptic Christians of, excuse me, of Egypt, but they're a very, very small community. They still exist today, but there is such an extreme minority in Egypt, but that's where they are today, is Egypt and Ethiopia. Okay, what inventions, innovations, and other actions would cause China to double its population, become wealthy, and spread politically? So, excuse me. The answer here is agricultural technological advancements. So, they would import champa rice from Vietnam, and with new technological innovation, they would be able to double the production of this rice and be able to support their very, very large population. So that is the main one there is technological advancements in agriculture, along with the importation of rice from Vietnam. Okay. What influences would China have, let's go, on its surrounding countries? What were the effects on those countries? Do other civilizations have similar effects? Identify and explain. So the big things with China is the introduction of Confucianism into surrounding southeastern countries like Vietnam, Korea, Cambodia, Laos, and then when you go across a sea into Japan. And so this would synthesize political traditions and then also create new states with those countries. Now, do other civilizations do this? Yes. If you look at, let's say, the Aztecs or the Mayans, they also influence the surrounding areas as well. You can also see this in Christian Europe with the spread of the feudal system. And so those are the things that y'all need to identify there to be able to wrap that up nicely, but mainly concentrate on the Chinese influence. All right. What inventions, innovations, and other actions would cause the Islamic world to expand outside of the Arabian Peninsula? What advances would be envied from countries, and how would these advances spread? Okay, so there is a lot to, excuse me. One moment. Okay, so the Islamic world not only had its own inventions, but it would have innovations based on Greek science and technology. And the way it would expand outside of the Arabian Peninsula was through trade. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to speed this up. I'm really starting to struggle. Excuse me. It would mainly be through trade with the Silk Road. And what would be envied? The main things that would be envied out of the Islamic Empire would be their astronomy, mathematics, map making, and I may have mentioned this, and if I did not, you do need to know this. Their medical books. The Islamic empires did have basic grasp of dentistry and rudimentary surgery, and those were the things that people really wanted from them is their medical science, their space knowledge, and their geography skills and mathematics. Those are the big things that people really wanted out of the Islamic empires. I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay. What are the similarities between the Ottomans and the Aztecs? Now, I forgot that I had this question in here, and I'm sorry. We didn't really expand on the Ottomans, so I'm just going to give this one to y'all. This one is that they are both from nomadic groups that migrated to settled regions and conquered them. That the Ottomans originated as Turkan nomads, and the Turkan nomads took over areas of ancient Anatolia, so that's Turkey, and then spread out to become the Ottoman Empire. This is very similar to the Aztecs conquering the Toltec, and the Toltec were already in the area of the Teotihuacan. Um, so it's very similar. So that's the thing that you need to know is that they were both nomadic groups that migrated to settled regions and conquered them. Okay. What similarities are there between ancient China, Japan, most of Europe, and ancient Mesoamerica? The things that really unite them together is religion. Religion dominated the everyday lives of these societies. Then when you look at China, it's Confucianism. When you look at Japan, it's Shintoism. When you look at Europe, it's Christianity. When you look at Mesoamerica, it's the various religions of the Maya, Inca, and the Aztec. So religion dominates the everyday lives of people. We also see that their hierarchies are all virtually the same. That you have the king on top of everybody, you have the emperor above everybody, then the religious leaders, then the merchants, maybe even the warrior class. But it's the same hierarchy for all of these civilizations, despite the fact that they developed at different speeds, different areas of the world, maybe even the entire world away, they still were able to have these same hierarchies as the other. Excuse me. Okay, after 1492, the Spanish arrive in the New World with conquistadors. What actually, excuse me, when the Spanish take in the New World, and what would be the consequences? So it's in their name. They would go around conquering. And they would not only spread by the sword, they would also spread disease. That was the number one thing, is that we get the spread of conquest and the spread of disease. So make sure that y'all remember this. One other thing to put in here is that I thought I talked about this. Now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't. After the Spanish took over the Inca, and they did this with the Aztecs and the Mayans as well, they would place into a system of slavery. And specifically for the Inca, the Mita or Maita system that was already in place made it easier for the Spanish to be able to implement this slave system, to be able to get people into this form of slavery. Because for many Incan, they would say, "Oh, this is not all that different from what we're used to," and so they would come in with sword and disease, take over, implement a system of slavery, set up their missions and their colonies in the New World. Okay. What similarities are there between the Inca and the Aztecs? Oh, yeah, there's a lot. You can say human sacrifice. You can say the social society. The big thing is that they got their empires by conquest. That they were conquerors. When you compare them to the other Mesoamerican societies, they were, excuse me, They were big time conquerors. All right. What events in the early 1300s would greatly affect the European continent, and what were the consequences? So there are two main things, and I realize on the slide I don't think I included this. So this is kind of my fault here, is that shortly before the Black Death, so the Black Death is one, but a little before the Black Death, we get a massive famine due to what we call the Little Ice Age. The Little Ice Age hits and it causes a huge famine across the continent. And then here comes the Black Death, and that wipes out 2/3 of Europe, the 2/3 of the European population, uh, dramatically changing Europe forever. Okay, so I know this was a little short because this is covering the stuff that's not stimulus based, meaning that y'all are going to have some reading questions, and your answers are going to be based on the readings. And then you're going to have some pictures that you're going to have to interpret. Excuse me. Ah, so um, that's the reason why this seems a little bit short, is because you need to be able to interpret pictures. You need to be able to interpret maps. Um, that I cannot give to you in advance because that would compromise too much of the test. So, and for our purposes, do not worry about the short answer again. We're not doing that. All right, is there anything else on here that I really need to? Okay, one thing I probably need to change on here is this word similarities. I need to put in a word that College Board really wants y'all to know, and that is continuity. Continuity means something that does not change over time or does not change over time within a certain parameter. And the continuity, you can replace that word similarities with continuity. So, what continuity are there between ancient China, Japan, and most of Europe? And this would be the social status, this would be influencing other cultures outside of their area. This can be religion dominated everyday lives. So that I do need to replace in for the future is continuities. Not this one though. This one remains the same. It's this one in particular that I need to change the continuities. Okay. Okay. I hope the best for y'all. Please get your review done. Get ready for the test. If y'all have any questions, send me an email. I'll see y'all later.